Hello, Wild Scrubs runner coming at you today, and we are gonna talk about special shoes. Shoes that has helped me, and I've only used it once or twice or maybe three times, but yet its technology is very, very strong, and it's it's special. That's all I gotta say about it. I know that it's special because I've ran two time trials, and one of them with one shoe, and then the other one with these shoes the next day, and it totally was very, very effective, and it was very, very special to me. Let's let's just get into it. So today I bring you the Nike Alphafly Next percents. So everyone, this is a technology laden shoe. Everyone wanted a pair of it, and everyone just couldn't get their hands on it just because they did a very limited release, limited numbers because of the Olympics. The Olympics that is now postponed for the next year. Therefore, Nike want to bring out just a limited pair for the public because that's part of the, I guess, rules, official rules that the Olympic has. If you're gonna put out a shoes that's gonna be used in the Olympics, it should be done 3 months or 4 months prior to the race. I forgot, but yeah, around that time. Little did we know that this COVID-19 is postponing everything, including the Olympics. So the release of these won't, I'm not anticipating it, the second release at least. I won't be seeing the second release at least, man, maybe October. If we're lucky, the end of July. I know the Endorphin Pros, they're actually coming out pretty soon. The pre-orders has already been put out there for people to grab, both in Europe and in the United States. So they are. Let's see the if the competition will continue with Saucony, Endorphin Pro, and also the Alphafly. As far as this goes, let's start with the upper. The upper to me is very breathable. I am not a fan of the fly knits for one particular reason. Like I said in my introduction, the I'm a wide foot runner. Therefore, I need space for my forefoot to expand and splay at each step and each stride of my runs. Therefore, the space is very, very demanding for me in all running shoes. And the the fly knit technology was so constrictive and unforgiving even after straight 20-mile runs two times on it. It was just unforgiving. It just wouldn't stretch. But the upper and these are actually very compliant and very stretch, and which is what the technology is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a stretched out type of Flynet, and it's very thin. At first, I was kind of scared that if I were to trip on a sharp rock or ran over with a barbed wire or something like that, or run over it. I mean, and it may slice it or something like that. But I found it to be very durable. It wasn't a concern after I took it out for a run. Mind you, I didn't run over any barbed wire or ran through a cactus or anything. It was a straight road that I ran these in. And it was very responsive with my forefoot. I was really happy with the way that it allowed my feet splay a little bit, not as much. But when you are in a in high endurance, high pace type of runs, the um the tightness is gonna be good, just so that you have the feeling that you are locked in and engaged whenever you're taking your aggressive stride, versus a long run that's nice and slow and for a long time. So these are actually the upper. I was fairly surprised about, and I was very worried because the size that I got was a size that I don't normally wear during my long runs. Usually I'm a size 8 in normal or regular, or I guess non extra wide or wide type of shoe. And I still went with the 7.5 because they told me, they meaning the those who had reviewed these, that the forefoot is actually quite large or quite wide. But then I wasn't sure if the upper was forgiving. Like I said before, with the fly nets, they're very constrictive, and with a wide foot runner, you really need that room and space so you can spread out your toes and use every single, I guess, strength of your foot or feet at every stride, because because wide footers are usually flat footers. They're gonna need that extra strength to actually fight off the pronation that wide footers really have a problem with, that causes plantar fasciitis. So that's what I've liked in the shoe, is wide forefoot, which I think these are wide forefoot and also forgiving. So I'm very happy, by the way, that I guess took a risk on the size that I got. I normally like an 8, but I am interested in getting a pair of 8s so that I can compare more to see if it does have a little bit more give on the, or a little bit more space in the forefoot. It was still quite tight for my liking, but when I ran with these, it was very good. It was forgiving enough, and I ran with these during a time trial and also an interval workout, and it worked out very, very well. The other thing about the upper is that it almost doesn't need to be laced up really, really, really strict, or the rules of tying these does not have to be as strict as you would in a non-fly knit material. And so you can just slip these on, play around with the laces, half a second maybe, tie it, and it's good to go. It is it's gonna stay on your feet so well that the lock in, I wasn't even worried about the lock in from the get go, because these felt like a part of your leg after you put these on. Is really good. And the fact that I have a large volume of a feet even made it more snug feeling. Now, this doesn't mean that it was tight, because like I said, the compliance of this was very forgiving compared to the Flyknit. So I was very happy with that as soon as I actually started to run with these. Another thing about the upper is the inside, the heel counter area. It's fairly sturdy and tight, so I don't mind heel counters not being as hard as this, but it's nice to have a hard heel counter, just so that if a race that I run in, or or a long run that I've run in extends for more than an hour and a half, the heel counter allowed my feet to really keep me balanced and stable. So I really like that. And there's also a padding around here in the heel area to keep your feet also locked in. So I really like that. For those who have Achilles tendonitis, not sure if these are gonna be bothersome. I know that some people don't like anything that's touching their heel slash Achilles because of the because they're afraid that it's gonna aggravate it. But I found these very nice on feet. I didn't have a problem with it. And my injury history is actually everything that has to do with running injuries that has to deal with the foot and ankle. So I've had plantar fasciitis and Achilles tendonitis, but these have not been bothersome for me. So very good on that. And then the shoelace is kind of cool. It has these nice bright greens, the vault greens with the checkered flag looking. But more closer, you have these ridges on the shoelaces that is very nice and very locked in feeling that it gives you every time you actually tie it. So that is very great. And as far as the upper, there are more reinforcements around the toe area and along the sides as well to really give you a very stable and locked in feeling. Actually, I thought at first these were just glue to hold the upper and the midsole together, but I found that these are actually done in purpose for abrasion protection. So very good on that without compromising the weight. And also, as far as the uh, the heel part goes, there is a pull tab also. So that is great. I didn't think I was gonna need to use the pull tab up until it reminded me how tight a Flyknit can be. And so there's a pull tab at the heel part, and then there's also a pull tab up here by the tongue area, which is awesome. Every time I put it on, I use this method, slam my foot in there, and I'm ready to go. So very nice. I really like that. And to finish off the upper, there are reinforced or thicker material compared to the whole body in the shoelace area, which also gives it a nice sturdy feeling every time you lace up and lace out of these. So very good material, very good constructions. And then as far as the midsole goes, everyone is familiar with the midsole. I think everyone has been exposed of technology that went into this. It's a Zoom X foam with the AirPods as well, and also with the wide, very wide forefoot. Even though this looks like it has a wider forefoot than the Next Percents, this actually has the same width compared to the Next Percents, oddly enough. And so when you talk about does this have a more stable ride compared to the Nike Next Percents, I think you will find that going back and forth with the Next Percents and these, they are gonna be different feeling, but the stability is a lot more stable than what you would think. So don't be afraid of how unstable you can be with the next percents and also with these Alphaflys, because the forefoot is wide enough for you to be aggressive with them. And so continue on with the midsole. You also have this very high stack height at the back, which gives you the feeling of that that you're supposed to be feeling like you're actually standing up like this, so it assists with the propulsion. But when you actually put these on, the shoes is actually gonna feel like you are uh, resting on the back of your heel, actually, because this is so for the midsole is so soft and forgiving that your whole weight will just sink into it. But when you are aggressively running on a race or intervals, it's you're gonna you're gonna need the back of the heel when you are fatiguing, and you need a propulsion from the back of your heel to actually keep you stable throughout your aggressive stride when you are on your forefoot. And whenever you are racing or in a high interval, you're mainly gonna concentrate on staying mostly in the forefoot anyways. So it gives you the security that if you ever to rock back, not accidentally, but just your natural stride, it will give you that bounce feeling and propulsion forward. And then the AirPods is actually it'll keep you very stable. And as you can see, these will give you a very good pop. I've had such a fun time playing around with bouncing on these like during warm-ups. And then when I actually ran, I felt the propulsion so much that it had to take the interval workout plus the actual time trial for me to actually feel the ground with these, because it is such a different feel whenever you have this shoes, because of how bouncy it is. And a lot of people who have bad, just weak ankles or post tibial tendonitis, they're gonna have a very hard time trying to run with these because they are so bouncy. Whenever you have such problems, you really need shoes that is responsive with the ground feel. And it's not too soft of a cushion, but it's also not too hard of a cushion as well. So, and I could go over another type of shoe for that actual type of runner if you are experiencing weak ankles or just weak overall foot and calf and leg strength whenever you're running. So then to finish off the midsole, you have these grooves, or actually this is the outsole now. You have these grooves in the hole in the middle. Maybe this hole is for weight control, but also I think if you are heavy on your forefoot, this actually acts like a trampoline whenever you give it a bounce. Instead of a whole solid that is in here taking the impact, you will have a trampoline like effect whenever you have weight on it. And then it's gonna allow the forefoot to go from here to here to here more readily because it is so bouncy. So good on Nike on that technology. And actually, these grooves as well, they are very, to me at least, they are very, very good traction. I didn't have a problem with these on the road. Mind you that I did not run with these on a wet surface. It's just road condition that was very, very hot. That's all. But as you can see, just 2 runs, they're already kind of roughed up. And I think that has to do with these actual grooves were so prominent and high that when you go aggressive on these, you will have a scuffing and a sloughing off of the rubber because they were so high. As you can see, my run pattern, I usually mostly use the outside and attempt to use my forefoot as well. And I did not, yep, I did not use too much of the inside forefoot, which is probably contributed to how weak my ankle and lower leg is. So, but these worked very well. So I'm very excited about this because I tried this when after I did a 4.2 mile time trial. Got a calf strain during that 4.2 miles on my strong leg, which is my right leg, and my calf was so sore and so tender that I actually had to do some work overnight, massaging it, icing it, massaging it, icing it, just to be able to do the very next day a 10K, basically a 10K time trial. And I was so afraid that I was gonna get injured because of how first of all, because I've never actually raced with these before, and I didn't know how it's supposed to protect, or not supposed to be protective, but how it's supposed to support me while I'm injured. But it actually held up very, very well. The cushioning definitely helped me with this with the first couple of miles, especially for the first 3 miles of the 10K. I was very, very, very tender in that calf, and after that third mile, I was able to forget my calf strain because I attribute it to how bouncy this was, how responsive this was, and how less of a stride that I took per minute with these. Which so it was very, very good and protective on that. Now, this actually, I'm gonna make a comment about what am I gonna use this for. In the long run, I think it's better to use this with 10K and up because how aggressive these are. Meaning, you have to be aggressive to keep on using the forefoot because it is so bouncy, and you're gonna need a very strong lower body basically to push off with these because they are very responsive, but they are not going to overwork you to where you are struggling trying to get in an effective stride in each run. So these to me are what I call a lifesaver basically. Whenever I have fatigued legs, I will use this. Whenever I have long runs and long races like a marathon basically, I will definitely use this. And also hopefully this will last for at least about 300 to 400 miles. It seems like the forefoot is gonna outlast the heel part of this, the Zoom X part, because traditionally the Zoom X foam is actually they degrade quite faster than a lot of the other foams, but these are very light and responsive, and it's the best kind of foam I've ever ran in. You could also see this type of Zoom X foam at other shoes like the Turbo 2s, and I have a lot of the Turbo 2s actually. It's my favorite type of foam to run on for, for now. I haven't tried the Endorphin Pro, which is gonna come to me in like a month and a half maybe. I got a chance to get a pre-order on it, so I'll be reviewing that shoes as well. So overall, this shoes was very good for my wide feet. I wanna get these are a size 7.5. I did use my own money to buy this. I just got lucky that I met someone that was able to let go of these because of their running status. They the the person that sold me this is an elite runner and running for another shoe company. So I was very lucky to get a hold of this. This is this is a 7.5. I would want to go for a size 8 next time these come out, and I will get this. This on retail is 275. Hopefully, like what they did with the next percents, the next release of these hopefully will come down from 275 to 250, because I think that's what happened with the next percents. It went from 275 and then it came out again, or maybe that was the OG next percents, that it was 275, then it went down to 250. So hoping that these would eventually come out and I can get a pair for 275 or less on these. But I'm very happy with this. This is a proven machine in my feet. I was able to run with this injured or with a calf strain. I call that injuries because I wasn't able to be very aggressive even more with this time trial that I did. And I used the next percents for the day before for a shorter race. So this would be great for whenever I need some relief off my legs, marathons, and runs over an hour, hour and a half. So I would see myself wearing this for 10K and up, basically. So that is my review on the Alpha Next Percents. If you guys have any comments or questions for me, go ahead and comment below. Subscribe to catch more future contents from myself. And that is all for me. Thank you. And that is until next time from Wild Scrubs Runner. See you later.